live, Pierre.
Welcome to the Morning Skate Show. No, it's not a double vision. We are three. I don't know what's going on. Michael, we have someone very special directly from South Florida. The number one fans of the Florida Panthers and one of the best, Mr. Flying Floopy, back in the house today. That's the second time Michael joined us. And Michael, you're going to run the show today. You are the master of the day, directly from the West Coast, California, Michael Devellano.
We are excited to have a guest. We need more guests, Pierre. We got to get
standing ovation.
Well, we started talking way before this, which was a big mistake. We probably missed a whole bunch of content, but I had to calm down probably after.
No, I have to stop you. That's the problem now. I have to stop both of you. Don't start talking forever.
Look, we do what we do, right? I mean, we make videos for a living. We can talk. We're not short on words.
All right. So for people that don't know, you run the YouTube channel for the Florida Panthers and the Miami Dolphins. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's the name of the channel is Flying Fluffy. Fluffy is actually the Saint Bernard, who is the dog who just walked in, heard the loud music, and said nope, and walked right out. My name is Eric. Everybody calls me Jaws. If somebody calls me Eric, it means I'm in trouble.
Oh boy.
So I've run a Florida Panthers based, NHL based YouTube channel. This is my sixth season. That's so hard to say. This is the first year I'm also doing Miami Dolphins stuff. I've done a few Miami Dolphins videos in the past, but this is the first year, unfortunately, as we sit at 1-7 for the Dolphins, that I'm doing Miami Dolphins videos as well. But the main focus is hockey and the Panthers, and that's my passion. That's where my knowledge is and everything else.
I love it. I mean, you're in a non-traditional hockey market. Miami's got a lot of distractions. You got a great team finally, though.
Right. And that's the thing. And look, even the fan base has been, well, it's been 2 games. It's been 3. It's been 4. Wait, it's only been 5. And we start adding them up. And I'm like, okay, I think we're safe now, because remember, I got a good giggle at the end of last season when Steve Dangle made his meltdown video over how the Leafs haven't gotten out of the first round in 16 or 17 years. I'm like, Steve, I'll raise you and I see a 25. Okay. We made it out of the first round of the playoffs once and we haven't won since. So the fan base is like, because we were good last year. Yeah. So the idea that we could be good 2 years in a row does not resonate. We don't know what to do with ourselves. That's the truth.
Well, there's been a lot of, over time, some weird instability in ownership, but I think you got a pretty damn good owner now, and I think that really is a big deal.
Yeah, these guys, it's just funny, because I've had a love-hate relationship with this group of owners, because they came in and we did good. We in 16, we won the division. I think that was the year we almost beat the Islanders. And then that summer came, and that's when I started the YouTube channel, when we traded Gabranson and Kulikov, and we got Riley Smith, and we did the whole analytics, and then we fired Gerard Gallant. We went to Tom Rowe, that whole thing. That was the start of my channel. And I'm an emotional guy. I'm half Italian, half Russian. So you could do the math there. Okay. And I was pissed off about my hockey team. So that's what grew the channel from the start. But these guys, they want to win. They really want to win. If they were in it for the money, believe me, they would have cut and chased a long time ago. They want to win. And they had to learn at the beginning that maybe the best way for them to win is to hire the right people and back off.
Let them do their thing.
Right. And it took them a little bit. And they even, I can't speak for Vinny Viola, but I know Doug Scheifele did come out and in a roundabout way, he used the word mistake. He said, yeah, we learned some things. We made some mistakes. So they know what happened with that whole mess.
And was it that they put in place for a while there, and that was just a mistake? It was not loose. It was.
No, it was. You're talking about Tom Rowe.
Rowe.
Yeah, when Gallant went, when the Gallant was sent packing there, and we had the whole cab incident and everything, which that's the other thing that grew the channel, because I don't have this Twitter account anymore, the original Twitter account. I wish I did. But when that night happened and Gallant was out there by the cab and everybody's blowing up, there's all these pictures of him. Well, I went to bed and I said something, and it was the Panthers had not made a statement yet, and this was back when Doug Scheifele was highly active on Twitter. Well, I woke up and the Panthers statement was in response to my tweet. So
Oh,
I
no.
woke up. I had like 40,000 notifications. I was like, what did I do? What did I do?
Whoa, that's awesome,
And
though.
because he basically had retweeted it, he retweeted a reply. He was like, do you really think that we left him out there by a cab? We called a car. He didn't want to wait. So it's been that kind of love-hate relationship, but now we're good. We talk every once in a while through, on Twitter or direct message. And he's like, hey, bud, I appreciate what you do. So we're good that way. But as far as owners are concerned, especially like you said, with a non-traditional market down there, if they were just in it for money or anything else, they could have gone a long time ago. I'm sure they've had offers to, to move and all of that. They want to win. They really do.
That's great.
Yeah,
Well, it's one of those markets like Arizona where they are never going to move that team because it makes all the other owners money. Like on the TV contract, it's part of a package. And I think we've talked about this before. It's like, God, Arizona is a license to lose 20, 30 million a year. Pick a number. Like,
right.
Which number is it? NHL doesn't care. You're never going to get permission to leave that market because it's part of the TV package. And Florida, like Miami, is the same.
Yeah. And even, I know we got the Lightning right there, but that's their own. The Lightning are the prime example of a well-run franchise and how it just can continue on with the players coming and going. But for a long time there was they'd show the fan, the lack of people at the stands in the arena and say move them to Quebec and everything like that. But here, look, I tell this story to everybody because people that don't live in South Florida don't understand how fickle the South Florida fan base is. I grew up in the 80s. I grew up with Dan Marino. Okay. 1986 playoff game with the Dolphins again with Dan Marino and the Cleveland Browns, who featured Bernie Kosar, a quarterback who had just started at the University of Miami. Playoff game. I listened to the game at the skating rink because it didn't sell out in time for it to be on TV. And I figured I may as well just go skate. They're going to play the game. So you're talking about a playoff game for the Dolphins. And at that point, there was no competition. There wasn't any Marlins. There wasn't even so at that point, the fan base had been like, we're going to beat the Browns. We'll wait to the AFC Championship game because we'll just rather go to the beach and listen to the game. So to get fans in the stands, and you saw it with the Heat, you got to have Wade and James. You got to have that. You got to have super mega team, and the fans want to go to the game in Miami, South Florida. If they know you're going to win, they're going to go. But the less of a chance that they think you're going to win,
distraction.
We'll go have a party at the beach and listen to the game. And who can blame them? Really?
Miami's amazing, obviously. I do want to acknowledge we have a lot of people in the chat. So good morning to our friend, the Canadian Giant, Stefan Manberg. Stefan Manberg is all the way from Sweden. So he's a regular with us. And then our good friend, Enertap, who's been on with Coach a lot at nighttime, I think, around the Montreal Canadiens mainly, but he's a great friend and resource. And then good morning to Kimberly Ina. Okay, we have a Swedish person in the chat, but we also have a Finnish person. I think we have two of them. Vallejo is here, and then our good friend Yarmo saying moi, which is like hello to everybody. Yarmo is really getting excited because his fantasy team is doing well, and it looks like he picked Alan Pierre.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Unfortunately, he lost against me, but that's another story.
I'm terrible at that. Canadian Giant reiterates moi. Roger Delaney's here. Hi, Coach and all. And then Ellen Keefe has joined us this morning. So we've got a few people.
Newfoundland.
From Newfoundland.
Yep.
Nice. Well, we have two really good Newfoundland players. One of them's actually, I think one got sent. Is Alex Newhook back up here? Is he still in the age? Alex Newhook. So, but Dawson Mercer's doing really well for New Jersey, and he's another newfie. So Ellen's probably pretty excited about that. Jimmy Cristo says, hey, Coach, the problem is not when the Habs play Detroit. The problem is when they don't. Detroit did not look great last night, unfortunately. Okay, I have no idea how to pronounce your username. Coach, greetings from Colombia, South America, though. That's where we're getting people coming in. So thanks for joining us. Suzuki rocked the house last night. That was good news. Michael Rubenstein's joined us. Welcome to all the Finnish people. And what about the Jewish people? Well, we have one here, so that's good. We're excited about that. Any Olli Jokinen stories? Were you around when Jokinen was around? I guess you weren't doing the YouTube.
Yeah, I wasn't doing during the Jokinen years, I had one eye on the hockey game at 7:30 at night and one eye on the 3 kids I was raising at that particular point in time. And include I've got 3 kids, both I have 2 autistic boys. So I spent from about 2000 to about 2008 the world ceased to exist. I did what I could to pay attention, but it was a time. It was a time. So, but no, he Panther fans in terms of Jokinen, if you asked 100 Panther fans who their favorite player of the Panthers of all time was, you're going to probably get 30 or 40 people that come up with Jokinen, just for what he meant for the team, because the team wasn't really great in those years. But he was just a guy that no matter what, it didn't matter how bad we were, he just gave 100% every night, and you knew what to, you knew you could count on him. And during that time, there was a lot of questions with the ownership and are we going to move? And so that's kind of the vibe that Panther fans have around Jokinen is almost like he was the glue that kind of carried us from, being finally done with the cup team and a night in Pavel Bure and all of that to where we are now.
It's funny. Whenever I think of Jokin, I feel like he was kind of like the first iteration of Barkov in some ways. There's some similarities there.
Yeah. Well, especially in his demeanor too, right? Just very quiet and unassuming and going about and doing his job. And I mean, there's games where, exactly what you're saying with Barkov, where, it didn't look like he did anything, because it's so effortless. He's just out there doing exactly what he should do. And a lot of times that makes it seem like he's not doing anything because he was already in position. If a guy's out of position and he races back to get into position, you think, he made a great play. And I'm sure the coach is like, why don't you just start off in the right position?
Well, our Finnish friends have explained to us that there's a philosophy, I don't know if you're familiar with it, called sisu. And it's stoic determination for the Finns. And we commented on this before, where Pierre and I, obviously we watch a lot of the World Juniors because that's a big deal for Canadians. And every year the Finnish team would come from nowhere and everybody kind of count them out, and then they'd end up in the top 3. And we're like, how is this always happening? And they explained to us the philosophy is called sisu. And so I think that's what we see now, is we see these Finnish-born players have this stoic determination. So it's kind of neat to watch.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%. You can see it.
Yeah, now he's back over there coaching hockey professional on that league in Finland. Right now we still have a program, AAA, in South Florida. And when you meet him, Michael, he not look a hockey player, to be honest with you. He's just small, like he's tall, but the guy is not no muscle. He's just like pure skill, talent, vision, everything like that. That's what he is. He's not like, he's 6 foot, but that's 6'1" maybe, but he's 175. He's nothing, like no square shoulder, nothing. He's just flat, straight, but so much a great hockey player, everything like that about this. So, great story about him. Everybody remind him.
Go ahead, Pierre. Cut Pierre off. Sorry, buddy. Yarmo's saying sisu means grit, not giving up. And Vallejo, who's also Finnish, says it means perseverance. It's so important in Finland. I mean, this is the country that beat back the Russians, right? So that's a tough country. Hello, boys, from Greg Sanchez. Thanks for joining. He says, nice to see the Habs got a win last night. We have a lot of Florida, Detroit, and obviously Montreal Canadiens fans, so they always comment on that. The best international hockey is Sweden versus Finland. Very different personalities and right next to each other. Mark Waugh says that the win last night for the Habs made him $5.50. Is that Canadian or is that American? That's what I want to.
It's not matter. He win. That's the most important thing. He got the W on that one over there. So when you put money, you want to win. It's not about how much. It's about that part over there.
how do you compare Florida's chances of winning the Cup with Carolina's chances?
Yeah, my buddy Stu and I, we were talking about that the other day. He does videos of me a few times a week, and you see my tone drop there when you say Carolina because that's the team. I was happy until somebody had to bring up the Canes. Can we just pretend that they don't exist? Because if they don't exist, we're the Cup favorites. Yeah, Carolina, they had our number last year. There's no way around that. It's funny because the Panther, once we pretty much knew we were going to be in the playoffs last year, the fan base was pretty much just like anybody but Carolina. Well, come on, Tampa, let's go, let's do this. And of course, Ekblad got hurt, and we were like, oh crap. But we wanted anybody but Carolina because they just had our number, and it wasn't. They had our number bad too. We just couldn't beat them. And then there's the Trocheck thing,
Right.
where it's one thing you're getting beat. It's another thing when your ex is coming over and beating you and saying bye bye, I see you. That's not. It was. And
Who
so
thought that guy was washed up.
well, look, he hurt the ankle.
Yeah.
He came back. And what a lot of people don't know is that he minorly refractured the same ankle, and then he took not enough time off, and then he played the rest of the season just trying to play himself into shape, or as long as he did that season, and with us, and we kind of figured, kind of like the Miami Dolphins Dante Culpepper thing. We kind of looked at the films, looked at his ankle, said, well, we're gonna let him go. And we'll just say he expected that he was going to be named captain.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He really felt like he was the captain. So when he didn't make captain, we'll bring up the part where we're Italian again, and you can
get emotional.
Yeah. So that adds an element to it. The Canes right now, I know people, and I've said it, their schedule so far has not been what the Panthers' schedule has been. Clearly, the Panthers have been through more in the first 10 days, but none of that's going to matter. Come playoff time, we play the Canes this upcoming Saturday, and we're going to see right off, if we're really different, if they still have our number. A lot of it goes around with Bobrovsky too, because Bobrovsky's like this different reborn goalie now. But yeah, in terms of Carolina and the Cup, I think you could play out the rest of the season right now and I'm saying this because I'm a Panther fan, but let's just have the Eastern Conference Finals right now with the Panthers versus the Canes, because I think that's where it's going. I think that's where it's going.
I think it's hard to people want to say, oh, Tampa can't try Pete, but I don't believe that's true. I mean, I think you got three of the best teams that have the best chance all smashed into each other.
Yeah, I'm not discounting Tampa. Oh, sorry, my bad.
The triangle of death, guys. Come on, that's tough.
Yeah, I'm not discounting Tampa. I've talked about this a lot over the summer. And when you listen to the language that the Tampa Bay players used after the second one, I knew we could win 2 in a row. I told everybody we'd win it twice. Twice was mentally their mountain, and I think that just the physical toll, the emotional toll of all that hockey. Remember, it was all sandwiched in with COVID and the break and having to stop and start again. I believe that they're going to make the playoffs, but I think you're going to have teams like Florida, teams like Carolina, who are just going to want it more come playoff time. Yeah. But no, not this. Go ahead.
I just want to mention it's a bad timing, but kudos to Bennett out for tomorrow night. And possible to go all the way to the weekend. So I'm going to missing a couple of players for that. The good news, Lundell was back on the ice this morning at the practice. And that's what happened for the injuries. So that we know that Cherries will be out also. So
we called up Prisky for Gudis, and we called up Maxim Mammon to take to take Reinhart's spot, and we moved Reinhart up to where Bennett was. Yeah. So talk about an abundance of riches. I mean, when you can take, we're having to move Sam Reinhart up to the second line. That's how you know you're crazy. Deep. Right. Yeah, I think we tried something a little bit different when Bennett was out the last game. It didn't quite work. As far as I saw with the people, the fans' reaction and my reaction, I like this one better. You have Reinhart up there with Tippett and Huberdeau, and then Maxim Mammon takes that third spot. And he's a big kid. Every time he's come up and played, he's really played well. And so we're looking forward to that. And then the defense, really, that's the thing that concerns me a little bit, because we have a solid top six, and then a drop off.
Not much after.
Right. So the pairings when everybody's healthy, and you can put Forsling with Gudis and then Montour and Connaughton, when everybody's healthy, we're good. But as soon as somebody's not, we have to start mixing and matching, and it's not a lot of complementary pieces there. The pairings that work, and the pairings that don't, they're a little iffy. So, and none of ours not been impressive at all for us this season. I wouldn't be surprised to see him dealt at some point, because I think his cap is like 2.25, 2.5. And for a guy that is really not even barely your 7D, that's a lot. That's a high cap hit for somebody in that.
We saw with Tampa when they won the first cup, and maybe even last year, they had reserves. They had like 9 deep, right? And I think you need that. Like, if you really want to ensure that, and I would anticipate that they'll figure something out. They might still benefit from getting a top 4. It's going to be interesting to watch how they pull that off. There's probably so many things we can talk about. We had a couple questions. Pharrell Among Us, thanks for joining us. I think he's more of an LA Kings fan. I can't remember, but he's in Southern California. But he says, any good stories like the Rat and Scott Mellenby? We all kind of know that story about the Rats getting killed.
Yeah, I wish. I want to remember this. Just give me a second. We had a conversation, because I have guests on the show, and we had Billy Lindsay on. And I asked him if he had been in the room when it happened. But the one thing that he said, which was interesting, which I wasn't sure if it was public knowledge or not. It was the first time I'd heard it. Was that the Rat was kind of making the rounds around the locker room. And so how it happened was as it came back around, Scott Mellenby just decided, all right, and one time the thing up against the wall so hard that it left a dent in the wall, and there was blood, and they like made a little memorial for him and everything for the Rat. Yeah. Yeah. So, but he just, it wasn't like the Rat was just there and he just kind of the Rat was a moving puck, and Mellenby just one-timed him right into the wall and left a dent in the wall. I mean, that's how hard he hit this poor Rat.
That's so crazy.
So, yeah, and they had a little memorial for him and everything. That was so. Yeah, if that was it was hilarious. Yeah.
Our young friend Bud the Monkey is here, Pierre, and he says hello. And he didn't know Jaws was here, so
hey, Bud.
Yeah, he also says that you're a big Dave Tippett fan.
Yeah. So Owen Tippett.
Owen Tippett.
Yeah, Owen Tippett. Yeah, no, that's okay.
Oh, that's right. You have another Tippett. Jeez.
Last year, he finally makes it up to the league, to the team, and coach was moving him all over the place. He everywhere but Barkov. It's like, I don't know if Barkov thought he smelled funny or what, but no, under no circumstances was Tippett allowed to play with Barkov. But he'd play him a little bit in the second line, third line, fourth. He's all over the place, and everybody's yelling about how Tippett looks like he's running around. He doesn't know what he's doing. And I'm for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month. Every video, I'm pounding the same point. I said, look, watch Tippett away from the puck. He's going behind the net. He's, in the offensive zone. He's going behind the net. He's stealing the puck, and he's just throwing the puck out there, and nobody's there in front to take it. And I just kept pounding the point. I said, put this kid in the top 6 with the same line mates and just let him sit there and learn, because he didn't know what he was supposed to do, because he was on a different line, sometimes 2-3 times a night. he'd be all over the place, and he doesn't know what his responsibilities within each line is. And so I just kept pounding it and pounding it and pounding it. And then finally, coach put him on the second line and left him there, and he hasn't looked back. And so, yeah, I've been patting myself on the back ever since about that one, because as you know, in this game, we get a lot of things wrong. And when we get one right, we're going to make sure everybody knows we had that one right.
The one thing we know about him when, like, in the OHL, like, he's not a beautiful skater. He's a Peterborough boy. He played in the GTHL for the Toronto Red Wings. And then we saw him in the Mississauga Steelheads. You're like, okay, this guy has an NHL shot. You could see when he came in, it's like, even as like a minor, a bantam and a minor midget, you're like, whoa, this guy can really shoot the puck.
Yeah.
You might not, if you took that away the rest of his game, you'd be like, this guy's never going to play. But that one skill for him is like elite. And I think you're right. Like, having a set lineup and understanding where they are, that's a tool that you can really capitalize a career on. I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, look, the goal that happened a few games ago where Huberdeau and Bennett had a 2-on-0. It was Owen Tippett that made the steal at the blue line, and that's what he does. He'll steal the puck and he just sends it towards the net. And and if our players are there, we get a 2-on-0. But if nobody's around, then it doesn't, So yeah, no, I'm a big Owen Tippett fan. I think his two-way game has really he worked on it and improved a lot. And gosh, I just have enjoyed watching him go from this scrawny little guy, and now you can tell he's just out there, and he's a big dude out there now.
You could see, like, even in, like, I'm surprised at how much they say he weighs, because he looks like he's a lot bigger than that. So I'd be curious to see what his actual weight is. But even in junior, you could tell, like, this guy's going to be heavy. He's going to be a heavy, strong guy with a heavy shot. Yep. And that's what's turned out. So that's amazing. Corey Hill has joined us, Pierre, from Ottawa, or at least he's an Ottawa fan. I don't know if, Corey, if you're actually in Ottawa. A little bit of a rough night last night. I'm going to go back. Yarmo had the most loaded question of all, Pierre. And this is what we're going to ask, which is, what do you think of the coaching change in Florida?
Is that for me? Is that for Pierre?
It's like everybody.
You want me to go? I'll go first.
I think you should go.
Pierre's like, what? I can't hear.
Oh, am I on this?
Here's what I'll say.
We didn't get a translator for Pierre today. Sorry.
Right. The coaching change. All right. So I'll just address the whole thing. I didn't think he should be fired. And then I kind of realized everybody else felt differently. And then the beach thing came out, and it was just like a tidal wave of nobody's ever going to know exactly what did happen. But like we talked about before the show, it got to the point where I had to look at it from a point of view of, well, it's what didn't happen. You know what I mean? You could say certain people didn't know at certain points and everything, but at some point, it was known. And obviously, the fact that, here we are sitting there, we're 7-0, 8-0 when it was going on, 7-0, I think. And so you're like, you don't want to lose your coach. We hired Joel Quenneville, who. So once I got past it, and you just have to accept it because, it's nothing I could do about it. Nothing we're going to, as far as I would have, I begged and pleaded, keep it in-house. I wasn't specific enough because I would have preferred Derek McKenzie, simply because I feel like look, if we're going to keep the assistants together, keep the system together, the system is in place, right? So I'm looking at it from more of a point of view of a guy that might be able to get the players going a little bit more. I like Brunette, but he seems like a little bit of the complete opposite of what Quenneville's personality might be in the locker room, where we've seen, from Chicago, Quenneville was this loud, boisterous, right? Yeah. But for me, it's a trifle difference. They picked Brunette. All I'm interested in now is in the team playing so well that nobody in upper management start getting it in their head that we need to bring in somebody from the outside. because if you watch the player interviews, even Ekblad said it would be stupid to change anything now. Let's just leave it the way it is. Everybody's talking about how it's a family, it's a brotherhood, it's a family, it's a family, a family. I know that the going perception is under most circumstances, a cup contending team needs a coach that's been there before. So I understand that. I genuinely feel like these are different circumstances because this wasn't a performance thing where, like with Gallant in Vegas a couple of years ago, where the owners felt like, hey, he really wasn't getting it done. So they made the change. This
That was a
so
surprising one to me, to be honest with you.
yeah. Every time Gallant gets fired, it's a surprise. Really.
It's a little weird for me, but I mean, I know Steve Spott and Pete DeBoer, and they work real well together. And when DeBoer went, I text Steve and I'm like, "Hey, you going too?" And no response. I'm like, "That's a yes."
Yeah.
I respect what those guys do, but Gallant, it was not like he was doing poorly. And I think in Florida he got the short, end of the stick too. So
yeah,
I don't know. I hope
yeah.
he has success with the Rangers, just not a cup.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, just let them. Yeah,
Yeah, they're a stacked team. So it's interesting because I was looking back, and you look at let's look back to when Pittsburgh won their last back-to-backs, and there was a coaching change. Mike Johnson back in Portland, they bring in Sullivan. He's never won a cup before as a head coach, and he won.
Right.
You look at St. Louis, and that was an interesting situation where they were. I've told Pierre some of this, but we know Robbie Fabry a little bit. We know some of the guys are ex-Toronto Junior Canadiens, so I coach in that. So you kind of hear whispers, and it was like, they did not like Daniel, and that's why they were last. They were like, "We're going to keep losing till you fire him," and the captain, whose name is Alex Pietrangelo, said, "You're done playing for this guy, and so are we." And that's what he said to Fabry and all the other players on the dress.
Wow.
And they went 0-9, they were last. And then people were like, well, how'd they go to the top? And they all knew Binnington because Binnington had played in the GTHL. And so these guys, you don't realize, like, they all play together when they're 14, 15, and then they go to the O. So they kind of know each other a little bit. Although there's a difference in age between Alex and those other guys. So they're like, yeah, bring up Binnington. So
yeah, well, that kind of worked.
It's kind of funny how that happened. But Craig Berube never won a cup.
Right. Yeah,
that was interesting. So there's some precedent there. And then I don't know, like John Cooper obviously has been around a lot, but it's not like he won a cup before. So there's a first for everything. So I'm not saying Andrew Brunette can't, but I don't know, Pierre, what do you think? Do you think that they should still consider bringing in someone like a Babcock or a Torts or?
Not right now. I think for everything happening in life, the best key is patience. You have to reevaluate. You have to take time to see everything on that. I think for Kenville's situation was the same thing. Everybody jumped in the bus right away, and he was his fault. No, he was not fired. He should be here. But when you read the report, when you hear more people talking, everything on that, now we have a better reevaluation of the situation with Kenville, and that's. For me, the reason I'm talking that way is because that should be the same thing with Andrew Brunette. The key said, look, let's watch him what he's going to do for the next maybe 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is. And then watching. For me, they have played together for years together. They're 6, 7 years together. They know what they have to do. You don't need someone to change everything anymore because they play the system, not going to change everything. He just need a guy. He's always been there for over 2 years, I believe, Brunette. He knows everybody. Everybody knows him. He was the bear. An assistant coach, we call them the bear. Everybody talk to the bear. Talk to the bear. The bear will helping you over there. The bear will do this for you, right? You never talk to the head coach. And he knows every one of them. So he knows now it's tout fan personality. The Brunette is a guy is really observed, watching, and is not a flashing guy. He's not going to change screaming, everything like that. He's very quiet. He's been there. He's our ex-NHL player, Michael. You have a great career, Andrew.
You had a great career.
So we know exactly. He's not 55, and he's very close age-wise with those kind of players. He just got retired for a couple of years, not like 25 years, 30 years, everything like that. He learned so much to be with Kenville. And believe me, something happening, he will talk to Kenville. Campbell will not be around the team, but if you need help, he will reach Campbell. For me, at that moment right now, Bill Zito is a smart guy. If you watch everything he does, it's calculate.
He's so
He
smart.
think before,
Great
and
GM.
then he react after that. So for me, he said, look, he's maybe up watching what's going on in return that. For me, I will not change anything. I will go there. Then if something does not work at the end of the year, now you can go somewhere from outside, because now he said now he can bring a new system during the summer, a new person, a new coach, and all that. But for me, I will not change the coach at that moment.
Yep.
It's not necessary anyway. And the church think about this, Fly. You bring a new coach, he's not going to change anything, Michael, right away. He was just do a
I don't think
same
they'll
thing
change
what
anything.
Burnett does, where everybody was just watching what's going on and readjust. So I don't see what is really necessary at that moment about that. And the key usually when you bring an interim someone inside the organization, Michael, is more successful as someone come from the outside, come inside to winning this to be participate. You see that most of the people does it usually. Deschamps did it, but before that, you can other coach around. They did the same thing over there. So for me, I think that would be my best bet at that moment. To wait a little bit more longer, but I think Brunette knows each one of them, and also Aaron, Huberdeau, backup. That's the heart of this team, and they've been there for 7 years. Everything like that. Everybody follow them. Everybody understand them, and everything. The leadership is still there together. What is missing is the learning to face adversity, challenge. One is the right time. One talk about the playoff. That's what will be the biggest challenge right now is the playoff situation. That's what the Thornton is there. That's what always been there before. And those kids around them, they're going to learn. And but I think they are the right set right now with Andrew Brunette at that moment.
I don't know Andrew Brunette, and I don't know Bill Zito. If it's me, I think I'm seriously going, listen, we are in a pocket. We've assembled this team to finish the deal. And then to your point, Pierre, I'm probably assessing, can Andrew Brunette do this? Because it's one thing to maintain a system and keep running practices. And he's got experience with another great coach by the name of Jacques Lemaire in Minnesota, where he had a great career. So he's been around great coaches, and I get that. But the reality is when you get down to the short strokes, and we see this in the playoffs, it's the adjustments that an experienced coach makes that make a big difference. You look at a Sheldon Keefe in the playoffs, and you're like, this guy's getting out-coached every game. I can see it. I can watch the line, like who's on the ice at what time. And you see stuff like that, and it's a little bit frustrating. And I'm not saying Andrew Brunette can't do that, but he hasn't. And obviously Quenneville's got a map to get to the final. Do you go for a guy like a Torts that's won a cup or a Babcock that's won a cup, and they understand what the preparation is? Because I don't see those guys coming in blowing things up. I think that those are the type of guys that come in and they say, hey, they address the situation, they ensure there's accountability, and they're not the bear.
Right. I think the one thing that we're 8-0-1 right now, right? We just finally lost a game.
It's easy.
And it still took us, the second of a back-to-back. Well, the point is that if you bring in somebody new now, there's nowhere for them to go but down. So, if you bring in a new guy when you're 8-0-1 and then all of a sudden you're 10-3-2, you wait, you're going to have a hard time getting the players to buy in that they should have made a change when, hey, we were practically undefeated before this guy got here. I don't think you can bring in somebody new now unless the team starts to struggle, because all they have to do is continue playing the way they have. It's not like, Brunette, he doesn't have to touch anything. And now the in-game adjustments. Yeah. Stu and I were talking about that when this all came out. And I was like, man, I just want somebody from the inside. The in-game adjustments, it is a concern.
It'd be interesting to see.
It'll be interesting to see, but I tell you the one thing where may come in handy for us is we're ridiculously deep. We could throw out our third line against most teams' first lines, and you're not going to have a huge disparity. So there's some room for him to make some mistakes there, where it's not like all of a sudden, Crosby and Malkin are on the ice and you're throwing out Gabranson on defense. You know what I mean? It's not, you're not going to have that happen.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I don't know. I think this is the point that I just don't see this as he's the long-term solution head coach. I'm not sure for Ralph. I think that because I think it's easy to win right now, and the regular season for this team won't matter. What's
Right.
going to matter is when they get to the postseason.
Right. And that's the truth of it. And we won't know that. And until it happens. And as far as I've heard all the players talking, they're pretty adamant about leaving things the way it is. And let's face it. I mean, you can have whoever that coach, but like the story you just told, the players are running the show. You know what I mean? The players are running the show.
Yeah, they definitely, but they're not always right either.
No, yeah, no, that's true.
That's wrong, real wrong. And if you look at Toronto, and I think that's a litmus test on when you let the players run the asylum. Like, they run out a guy who, everybody knows Mike Babcock's got a big ego, but he's also very well prepared, and he's a good assessor of talent. Like, he's the guy that said Zach Hyman's what he is. They got him from Florida for nothing, and who didn't want to play with him? Austin Matthews.
Right.
It's like, stop playing me with this guy. I need better players.
Right.
Okay,
right.
Austin, you're 20. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not saying Florida's going to do that, but you need that strong leadership. And I'm not saying Andrew Burnett's not going to be that. Like, Andrew Burnett's been a captain, I think, in the NHL, long career. So it's going to be interesting to see. But I think this is the real question in my head. It's like you have a window here as Florida that Bill Zito, I trust, will make the right decision.
Yeah.
No matter what, I think he's going to put it together.
Yeah, and that's what it all boils down to. I mean, that's the one thing everybody was saying when it all went down was like, look, just trust Zito. When that whole Torts thing came out, where Kevin Weeks tweeted about it might be Torts, and then Florida Panthers Twitter threatened to burn down the planet, including myself, if Torts became the coach. Because if there's one guy, it made my night, to be honest. Kevin Weeks saved me so much trouble. Because I'm sitting here and I'm like, he had just gotten fired, and the beach interview and all of that. And I'd already made 2 videos, and I got all this pressure. People asking me, what am I thinking? What make a video, say something. And then Kevin Weeks brought John Tortorella into the discussion. And suddenly everybody who had been fighting over whether Q should go or not, all banded together and said, no Torts. So it was perfect. He saved me so much trouble. I don't care if it wasn't true or not. I could have paid him to do that, because I immediately could go do the video about no Torts, and everybody agreed with me. It was beautiful. It ended all the fighting. It was like, okay, Q is gone, but we're gonna stop fighting about that, because Panther fans overwhelmingly I mean, you don't see a lot of agreement on Twitter, and it was like 95% to 5% no Tortorella, because we don't believe that these guys are going to play for him.
See, I would be surprised at that, though. I think the thing in the room is guys like Tortorella, and he provides structure, but that's like, that's a very strong personality.
Right. And remember the comments he made about Anthony Duclair, immediately people started retweeting the comments he had made about Anthony Duclair. And right. Right. Yeah. And he's on a top line. And so, yeah, that'd be a rough one to smooth over. You know what I mean?
Good point. Yeah. There's always those issues. Jeez. All right. So who are you excited about right now? Who should we keep an eye on? Who's going to have a great year for the Panthers?
Well, I've been saying since the beginning of the season started that Bennett or Huberdeau, one of those 2 guys was going to get 100 points.
Oh, wow.
Bennett's hurt. We don't know how long they're going to be hurt, how long Bennett's going to be hurt. I can't believe I'm saying this but Bobrovsky, look, I did a video over the summer. My eyes were bleeding by the time I was done watching so much film of Bobrovsky, because I went into the project wanting to find out what's the difference between this guy now and in Columbus. And I found 2 things. I found that he was moving, a flicker of a second slower, but just a flicker. But the other thing I found was that in the seasons after he had only played maybe 35 or 40 games, the next season, he was out of his mind during the regular season, played spectacularly. And yet those same seasons where he had spectacular regular seasons, as soon as the postseason hit, horrible. Weird. So Last year, I think he had 37. I mean, he played 30 something games. So I've been expecting him to be really, really good this year. But this Bob is completely different and he's better. He's better than he was in Columbus, because in Columbus, he was making highlight reel saves because he was out of position so much. This guy is in position from the beginning, and he's not allowing these big, huge rebounds that the last 2 years. Half the goals scored against him practically, he'd make the first save. The rebound would go a million miles away and inevitably land right on the opponent's stick. And so I think that Bobrovsky is going to I think he's going to win the Vezina. I'll say it right now. I think he's going to, and it's weird because, people were predicting the Panthers to make the Stanley Cup or win the Stanley Cup during the offseason, and it was all because of Spencer Knight.
Right. Well, I mean, there's an elite goalie for sure, and young.
Right.
How much of that has played into what Bob's done? Like pushing.
Oh yeah. The competition. Absolutely. Bob's never really had a guy that he knew as soon as Spencer Knight takes that job, he ain't giving it back. And Bob did not react. And Bob he wasn't even benched in the playoffs last year. He was scratched for the last 2 games. He wasn't even the backup. And I think that plus the fact that his wife just had a baby at the beginning of the season. So he worked his butt off all off season long. Excuse me. He fixed a lot of things, and he got rid of his social media. And now I talked about this before the season. I mean, like I said, I've had 3 kids. So I had a feeling that now, instead of going home and being like hockey, and already being emotionally worn out from how he performed the night before, before he goes back to, he's going home and ain't nothing to think about but that kid. Right. And help him take care of the kid and make sure his wife is okay. And then he's like, oh, wait, I got to go do hockey. And then he goes. So I think just the difference in his mentality, and you can see it. He is so locked in. And I'm telling you, he's better than he was. I watched so much film, and he's better now. He's a better goalie now than he was in Columbus. So that gives me hope for the playoffs.
Good morning to Frank Salazar. We know he's a Florida Panthers fan, right, Pierre? And our friend Johnny Gordon says Romanov got scratched last night, first on the ice today for practice. Did we hear it? So it doesn't sound like Drouin had a concussion, Pierre. What was the injury to Drouin? Because it looked like he got hit.
It's all clear, so no concussion for him. It's going to be a reevaluate day today. So possibly be back Thursday or Saturday, but no concussion. That's the most important thing. It looked like bad after he got a shot. He goes straight to the bench and get out. And but it was, great news about Jonathan Drouin about that one over there.
Yeah, I wonder how much. It's interesting that Romanov got scratched after that altercation in practices.
I don't know. Sometimes you have some private stuff. Get he shot late. Get he did something like that. Who knows what happened, right? But Romanov, look, he was the first on the ice today. So something like that. Maybe he was not the first one on the ice yesterday morning.
Maybe.
So I don't know what happened, but as a coach, one of the next practices that you're first one after your healthy scratch, but that's what you like from your players. You want to see them to respond right away, and he showed that right now. So this is characters, what you want to see from players. He responded the right way on my ice.
That is a positive. I think absolutely after that. We don't know the details, but Pharrell Among Us says Shesterkin, the dark horse for the Vezina. I would agree with this. Why are there so many great Russian goalies?
I don't know, but he's looking great, to be honest with you. And just back for Bobrovsky, I will give you 30 seconds about that one there. You nail it all the way. His position, the way he control the puck, the way he control his rebound, the way he see the rebound. He's challenged constantly the puck also. That's something we did not see from last season. He was deep in the zone and the crease. He didn't want to challenge. Now he attack all the time. So it's when you see this, for me, it's just confidence. It's just you believe on himself, and that show for me about that one. Then that's maybe, behind Forsling, I believe there's the second player on that team have the most improvement compared from last season. We know what Barkov and everybody else, right? Duclair showed a little bit more highlight this season. But Bobrovsky, and that's the reason why flying. We always said at the beginning of the year, for my eyes, it was the only problem for Florida Panthers is going to be between it will be the goaltender.
Right.
If they have a great goaltending, this thing will be all the way up. If they struggle there, that may be the one reason why they're not where they're supposed to be. And so far, both ways, Spencer Knight is unbelievable. I love this kid. He's under one shot in the puck, but also the way he control the puck around the net. Spencer Knight, the way he go get the puck, he control it is just amazing at his age to have that kind of confidence to get out of the box, the net, and to go play the puck that way. It's just for me like that kind of goaltender is going to be one of the best in NHL for the next 10 years. So for me, that's you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah, we were a little competitive because our goalie Dustin Wolf was kind of the backup in that U.S. development program, but you can see why Spencer Knight is what he is. It was more than just size. There's a lot of other skill there. The puck movement's elite, the blocking's elite, the rebound control's elite. Like, you don't get a young guy like that making the NHL and threatening to steal. Well, he stole the job.
Yeah. Another goal here or there, or timely goal in game 6, and he would have had game 7 to go to against the Lightning. But that series, Tampa was the better team, and like when we interviewed, like I said, when we talked to Billy Lindsay, the one thing he said was, when it comes to the playoffs, you pick a goalie and you stick to him. He says, you're not going to win a cup with 3 goaltenders. And by the time Knight was in, I mean, Knight started game 5 and he was the 3rd goaltender. That's heavy, man. You know what I mean? That's heavy.
It's interesting. Don't forget Elvis Mizwerkmans. This is a name. Like, I don't know if you've watched him this year. This guy is serious. When he said in the offseason he was going to win a Vezina for Matthias, the goalie that passed away in the fireworks accident.
Yeah.
He was not kidding.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, you watch him. If you watch him, you're like, I don't know if there's a better goalie in the NHL right now.
Yeah, there's definitely a few guys. I say Bob can win a Vezina, and what I mean by that is his level of play will be arguable of he should have won, even if he doesn't win. You know what I mean? Which is not the Bob we've had the last couple of years. Yeah, there's a few good guys. It's funny because for about a week there, if you looked at this top 5 goaltenders in terms of goals against, they were all either Florida Panthers now or former Panthers. It was like Reimer, Markstrom, Anderson, Drieger, and then Bobrovsky. It was like there's something. Wait, it's all Panthers.
Who's the goalie coach in Florida, Pierre?
Again,
sorry, or either one of you.
It's Rob Tallis.
Oh, it is Rob Tallis.
Yeah, he's been there a while.
Hollywood Rob Tallis.
I can't remember when he wasn't the goalie coach, to be honest with you.
It's over 15 years over there.
Wow. Okay, that's stability. Do you think that Lundell makes Team Finland for the Olympics?
Oh, the Olympics. Do I think he'll make the team? Maybe. Would I like every Florida Panther to somehow magically not make the teams? I'd be perfectly happy with that, because while they're over there playing, everybody else is going to be at home resting, and then injuries happen, and I not a fan. I'm gonna engage. I'm gonna watch the games and do videos, and I'm gonna engage. And I'm not going to bitch and complain the whole time. I'll bitch and complain before I do it. That's my shtick. I bitch before I do it. Then when I do it, I don't complain. That way. But yeah, Barkov and Huberdeau and Ekblad. It's just like, please go sit on the beach. The advantage we could have of those guys are sitting on the beach getting massages for 3 weeks while everybody else is playing, and then we come back fresh. There's a big difference between going and playing all that, and So, do I think Lundell will make? He might. He's got to stay healthy. That's
more important.
Yeah, he's got to stay healthy, and maybe the fact that he's not been healthy might. He may say, "No, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna rest and everything." But yeah, the Olympics. I mean, we've got what it's 3 weeks basically. We're off almost.
I hate interrupting the season. I'm with you there. I feel like the Olympics, so to speak, going back to a Happy Days reference, jump the shark. Nobody cared about the last two, and maybe it should stay that way. Like I think the NHL or the Olympics need the NHL more than the NHL needs the Olympics.
Yeah. That's perfectly said. And there's going to be that one team where somebody gets hurt. It's just not knock on wood, but somebody. Yeah, I know. Mostly everybody I've heard is kind of, when they hear the word Olympics, it's just kind of like, geez, it's just like it's like there's nothing we can do about it. But at the same time, it's just like, I'm going to be watching the games. Just don't get hurt. 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 That's it. And rest. Can we get somebody else? Barkov's had enough ice time. That's 30 seconds. Get off. Because, I was thinking about it the other day. It's like, I'm thinking about like the Canes and some of these other teams. And I'm wondering, are their stars going to be playing while ours are, and who's sitting, who's resting? And, there's still going to be 30 something games after that. So, I mean, there's going to be a palpable difference.
For sure.
You're going to see a difference. You can't take 3 weeks off and not feel rested. And, and for the Panthers, it's like, this is our year. This is our window. It's all together. And now, right. Yeah. So,
and I get the national pride. Steve G, stop drinking 8 Molsons. That's not water. It's 5%, man. Tastes like water, but
my mug is full of Monster.
Yeah, it is the best against the best. Well, Fluffy, I don't want to tie up the whole day for you. Thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything we didn't touch on that we want to touch on, Pierre?
No, I'm going to challenge him now.
Okay, let's do it.
Now, it's easy. It's not a big one. I would love to have you and Stu Cohen together because flying is amazing. And Stu Cohen have a lot of story. He's been in hockey for over 40 years too. He's a great. I read every day his article on the Gazette Montreal newspaper, and he covered the Montreal Canadiens, and he's always with flying sometimes. So we would love to having both of you at some point. When both of you are available. Stu is really knowledge about hockey, a lot of great story, everything like that, and he loved the Montreal Expos also. So I would love to have Stu at some point. If you don't have the possible, he can do that for us and with you. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
I love when you come here. By the way, I'm quiet. I don't have to talk. So you will come anytime.
Jeez.
It's a good morning for me that right now. But again, flying. I just want to tell you one thing is like, first of all, we are thankful, grateful to having you here, but also for the way you bring hockey in the South Florida, how you promote the game, and the way you love the passion about the game, but also the way you produce video, you bring knowledge about hockey for everybody, follow you, everything on that. And we are here for anytime if you want to, if we can help you, whatever you need from us, don't hesitate to reach us. And again, it's a pleasure, and we are blessing to having you this morning on the Wednesday and take a time to be with us. That's again, we are really grateful about this. So thanks again, Flying, to be with us again.
No, I really appreciate it. This was fun. This was a lot of fun. This way I could say what I want, and I get people, my people, they're sick of hearing my stories. So I get new people to tell the stories to. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, this was fun. I appreciate you having me out. Well, I will chat with Stu. He'll be thrilled. Trust me, Stu will be happy.
I know he's a good guy, and I never personally talk to him, but I tweet him a lot, like back and forth, and always on that. So he's a great guy, and I know he does everything on that. So I would love to having with you. Of
that
course,
would be amazing.
Talking to him, yeah.
Yep. Okay, great. Absolutely.
And
thank you so much. Appreciate a lot, buddy. Have an amazing, great day. Flying about that.
Yeah, we want to get your
I think we have a question about someone.
Panthers hockey too.
I'm sorry, what?
Next time we want to get your perspective on non-Florida Panthers hockey too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's been a Panther-centric week in the world. You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much again. Michael, you have a question about Corey Hill. Can you check it? 11:55.
Yeah, but he's asking again about the Calder and which Ottawa Senator is going to win the Calder, and he thinks guys that played there 3 years are going to win the Calder.
Okay. Well, the only one can be as a rookie, right?
I think we need to do a sit down with Corey Hill and explain to him what the Calder is.
No, but the Calder is only for the rookie. You know what I mean? And I don't know. They have a rookie this year on that team. I think
Wow.
Shane Pinto,
Okay. But
right?
he's always asking if Stutzley and Kachuk are going to win the Calder. And
I don't
the
know,
answer-
but I think Shane Pinto is available to win it, right?
you might. I think you're right. Yeah. So maybe Shane Pinto. That's probably your best bet.
Yeah.
Good answer, Pierre.
All right. So I think look like everybody's happy about you. Thank you so much, everybody. Mike, an amazing, great Wednesday. And I will be live tonight, 5 p.m. with at.to for the warm-up show. Have an amazing, great day, everybody.